Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my 2022 Clan Battle tier list for Princess Connect Redive. So, how we're going to be doing this today is we're going to be taking a look at all of the currently released characters in the game and ranking them in terms of their Clan Battle performance. Now, as you can see, I actually have two tier lists up here. On the left hand side, we're just going to rank all of the characters sort of at their base level, if you can call it that. And then on the right hand side, we're going to be ranking all of the characters that currently have access to unique equipment. So right now we're in batch 4, I believe it is. So there's a total of 30 unique equipment out right now. So those 30 characters are also going to have a separate tier list here on the right with their unique equipment, just so we can kind of get an idea of how much of an impact some of the unique equipment have on certain characters in terms of their clan battle performance. Now, I've done something like this in a similar video where we talked about all of the upcoming banners and we ranked them in terms of clan battle performance and arena performance, but because there's so many characters released at the moment, I decided to split that into kind of like a separate video. So today we're going to be taking a look at clan battle, and then shortly after this one's released, I'm going to be releasing another one where we'll be doing the exact same thing. We'll be ranking all of the characters with and without unique equipment, but instead it'll be for arena. So this way it just kind of made a little bit more sense. I can have two separate videos, one clan battle, one arena, and at the same time I can compare unique equipment, which I think is a lot easier for, especially for the wave of beginners that we have. So with that said, there's a ton of characters to get through. I'm not going to be going into too much detail, as you can imagine, because I don't want this really to be like an hour-long video. So I will be skimming through, and I'll just kind of be saying what I feel needs said. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump into it. So first character up is Akari. Akari is just kind of a fantastic mage support. She's been great, she's still great, and she's going to be great going forward. She really is our only like super good mage support right now. She's fantastic all the way around, and in my opinion she's just kind of an easy A, just a great solid character to have. Her unique equipment is out, and it basically just makes her kit even better. I would say, honestly, in my opinion, it probably warrants an S, if not at least an S minus, kind of A plus, just because of what it does, and she pretty much just sees play in every mage team. She's fantastic all the way around, and she's just going to see more and more play as the year continues. So great character to have, both with and without unique equipment. Next one up is Akino. Now, I really wish I could say Akino is a really good character, but unfortunately she just doesn't quite cut it. Her damage is kind of low. Her kit is really cool, but there just really isn't a place for her right now. At least in terms of clan battle, for sure, she just really doesn't see much play. Her damage is really low. Her heal is very niche. The only situations where I've seen her, or seen her at least somewhat viable, is in the situation where you just need a little bit of healing to keep your team alive, and you would use her instead of actually having to run a healer, because obviously she does more damage than a healer. But outside of that, she's just really mediocre. Very cool character, but the unfortunate reality is she's just not that great. Her unique equipment is out, but it does absolutely nothing. So she's going to be kind of the same boat here. C all the way around. If you've got no one else, she's okay, but realistically, you don't want to be running her. Same thing kind of goes for Anna. Anna, at her base level, her damage is kind of mediocre. She's definitely more of an arena character in my opinion. Not a mage you really want to use. On top of that, you don't ever really want to auto her, because you don't want her using her Union Burst, because then she just drops all of her defenses and can die easily. So you typically always want to manual her. And for that, like, it's just not worth it, the damage output that she would do. So she's kind of an easy C. Obviously, I would say low C in my opinion, but we'll just leave her here for now. However, with her unique equipment, it really makes her much more viable. She's still in the same boat where you can't auto her, so if you are a full auto kind of player, you might want to pass on her. But for those people who are willing to manual, she actually becomes very viable in the she gains some defense shred. So probably not quite an S tier in my opinion. She's not crazy good, but she's definitely much more viable with her unique equipment. Just keep in mind you can't auto her. Next up we have Aoi. Aoi is arguably one of the weaker characters in the game right now. She doesn't really have a place anywhere in terms of archers. She's just completely outclassed. Kind of a cool idea with the whole poison kit, but she's just very lackluster. There are so many other better characters that she's just kind of outshined. So you don't want to use her. Moving on, we have Arisa. Now Arisa is a absolute solid unit to have, in my opinion. She does very good damage. She sits a little close for an archer in the backline, in my opinion, but it's not the end of the world. She's just a great all-rounder, fantastic unit to have. She sees a pretty good amount of play in clan battle and is just a solid character all around. Very, very good one to have. Easy A, in my opinion. Now her unique equipment is out, and while it's a little bit more arena oriented, she does just gain a flat stat buff from her unique equipment, which is just always nice to have. It doesn't quite push her up to S tier in my opinion, but it definitely makes her more of an A+. So you could argue that she's sort of a B+, A- over here. With her unique equipment, it definitely makes her a solid A, maybe A+. Moving on, we have Ayane, however you say this one. She's an interesting one because she does see play in clan battle, but it's like very specific. I tend to look at her at more of a kind of competitive character, in the sense that, like, in the thing that she does, she's kind of irreplaceable, but it's so specific and you don't really use it that often that it doesn't really warrant her being too high, in my opinion. And what I mean by being a competitive player is, like, you can do totally fine without her realistically, but if you're competitive, you have her for that specific use. So in my opinion, she's just kind of like middle of the line, just because of how often you're really going to be using her. But if you're super competitive, then it might bump her up a little bit. Next up, after that, we have her Christmas version, which is kind of interesting because she's kind of like a physical Illya in a sense, but she can actually deal bonkers damage, but at the same time, if she crits herself, she can die. So she's still in that same pool as Illya, where if she survives, she can actually deal really, really good damage. But if she dies, you've kind of just gimped your attempt. So because of that, she doesn't see a whole lot of play. She can definitely be one to use if you really need the character. But in my opinion, she's kind of more warrants a B, maybe B+, possibly A- if you are the gambling type. But for the most part, I think she's just kind of like she's an okay one to have. After her, we have Chika. Chika is sort of a weaker healer, in my opinion, out of all of them. She's not bad. I think she has like a very, very, very specific use somewhere. Not really one that you want to use. You typically don't want to use healers anyway in clan battle, but for the most part, she's okay. So not really much to say. She'll do the job if you need it, but outside of that, she's just kind of mediocre. Her Christmas version, however, is kind of in the same explanation that I gave for Ayane, I don't know how to say it, in the sense that she's more of a competitive character because she needs very specific gearing, and she does kind of like, she opens up a very specific thing, but what that thing is so good that you just can't sleep on her. So if you want to be even remotely competitive, she's pretty much a must-have just because of what she opens up, and in my opinion, just because of that, she is an S-tier character. She is, in terms of clan battle, she is so strong in that specific thing that she does that you can't pass on her, unlike what you could with, for instance, Ayane. So after her, we have Christina. I'm sure most of you are aware of Christina's power. She's just an absolute fantastic character to have all around. She always crits on her Union Burst. After that, she becomes immune for a couple seconds to physical damage. Fantastic for her survivability. She has Defense Shred. She's just an all-around absolute monster of a unit. Easy S, in my opinion. After her, we have Djeeta. Djeeta is sort of like she's a happy medium, I think. She's just a solid flex DPS. If you have her, she's definitely a good one to use. She is outclassed, but she's not bad. So she's just like a solid, good to have, middle of the road, a B, maybe B+. Next up, we have Eriko. Now, Eriko is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to have this whole comparison, because at her base level, she's just not worth it. There are so many other physical characters to use that are just so much better, and she's so squishy that most of the time you just don't want to run her because her damage just isn't up to par. So she is an easy C in my opinion. However, if you equip her with her unique equipment, she becomes the highest physical damage dealer by miles. I mean, she becomes absolutely absurd and easily warrants an SS. At least she's so broken. You thought getting 100k crits on Kaori felt good on your clan battle attempts? Wait until you get an Eriko crit. I've seen her crit for over 230k. That's how much we're talking of a difference. It's just mind-boggling how powerful she is with her unique equipment. So, absolute must-have if you are clan battle focused. After her, we have her Valentine version. She's kind of in the similar boat as Djeeta, in my opinion. She's just a solid one to have. She's nothing special, but she's definitely some good damage. There's definitely better units, but she's a solid one to have in your roster. Easy B, maybe B+. After that, we have Hatsune. Hatsune is an arena mage. There's just no two ways around it. You don't really want to be using her in clan battle. You can kind of use her for a filler mage if you must, but just keep in mind she's not going to be that good. In my opinion, she's going to be a high D or a low C. Yeah, she's arena. There's nothing really else to say. Her unique equipment is out, which basically gives her a much needed buff in her damage. In terms of clan battle though, it's really not much. It's more of her kit that is lackluster in clan battle. So she deals more damage, but she's not one you still want to choose, but it at least pushes her up to a C, maybe C plus B minus. Moving on, we have Hiyori. Now, Hiyori, in my opinion, is just another good solid flex DPS. Some people swear by her and say she's like a fantastic DPS. I have found her to be kind of on par with Djeeta. Personally, I don't see her anything much more than that. I wouldn't say she's quite A. Maybe B+, but a good character to have nonetheless. However, with her unique equipment out, it makes her much, much more viable in clan battle and makes her a very good unit. I wouldn't quite say S, but definitely a solid A with her unique equipment. Very good character to have with her UE. Next up, we have her New Year version. Now, her New Year version is a slightly better version of her normal version, in my opinion. I would say she definitely warrants more of an A-, B+, ever so slightly better, but that's just at her base kit. Her main power is going to come when her unique equipment comes out, and then she's going to be kind of like Eriko busted level. So if you have her, just kind of sleep on her for now, and just something to know in the past. Right now, she's a good unit to still have. Just know that she's going to be bonkers later. Next up, we have Illya. Illya is kind of in the same boat as Christmas Ayane in the sense that when she survives, she's very, very good. However, if she crits herself or something just goes wrong and she dies, you've kind of gimped yourself. It really depends on how you want to measure her reliability. Personally, I think she's sort of middle of the line just because of that. If you're running a team where she's face tanking and maybe you have like Misato, who is providing that extra bit of healing for her, that makes her a little bit better in my opinion, but it really depends on the team and whether or not she doesn't die. So I think B, maybe A, somewhere between B and A in my opinion for Illya. After that we have Io. Io is strictly an arena character and should not be used in clan battle. There's nothing really else to say there. That's just how it is. June is the tank you want if you are ever having to run a tank in clan battle. You typically don't want tanks, but when you do, June is the one you want. She does it all. She has self-sustainability. She has defense shred. She can heal. She's just an absolute fantastic tank to have. If you're going to run a tank, you want her Ruka. Her unique equipment is out as well. It doesn't do a whole lot because there is a little bit of an RNG aspect to it. It's nice, but it's not a necessity. But it is a nice little boost. So she's still going to be just an A character all around. Next up we have Kaori. Now, a couple months ago, I probably would have easily said Kaori was an S character. However, she has been dethroned as the damage queen by a couple characters. She's still fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to borrowing now, if you're not borrowing Makoto, chances are you're borrowing someone like Muimi or Yui Eriko, which drops her down just a little bit. I think she's still a fantastic character and a must, in my opinion, but I don't think she's quite S-worthy right now at her base level. However, her unique equipment is out, and if you decide to get it and invest in it, I think she easily earns her S spot back. Because it's a boring unique equipment, but it's flat damage, and for a character who's just dealing damage, it's fine. So with her unique equipment, I would consider her an S. At her base level, I think she's dethroned a little bit, but still a solid A. After that, we have Karyl. Karyl is kind of just like a decent flex mage. She's nothing special, but she's okay. I would say at her base level, she's more of a sort of C+, maybe B-. There are definitely better mages, but if you really need to fill, she's a better option than, for instance, someone like Hatsune. But otherwise, she's nothing really special. Her unique equipment, however, makes her much more viable. I wouldn't quite say it pushes her up into A tier, but it definitely makes her a much better flex mage. So with her unique equipment, she's definitely viable, just anything crazy special. So solid B in my opinion. Then we have her summer version. Now her summer version is, as I'm sure most of you are aware, is pretty much essential for any mage team and has been since her release up until now, and it will be in for the next good couple clan battles. Absolute must all the way around. It's tough. You could say S, you could say SS, and honestly I think both are fine. You could argue SS because she's pretty much a must. However, I think with how this year is going to pan out, going into a mage meta towards the ends of summer and the amount of just fantastic mage units coming out, I think S is more appropriate, but honestly, you could definitely argue SS for Summer Karyl. Fantastic unit. After her, we have Kasumi. Now, Kasumi is the newest one, and she's kind of an interesting one because she's very good in clan battle, but she's not going to be used until quite some time later, and it's going to be some specific teams. But what she does is just very good, or what she allows is very good. But she's also one of these characters where she needs very specific gear rankings, and you want to keep her at 3, maybe 4 stars. Very specific gearing. It depends, really. I think personally she's a solid A in terms of clan battle. If you keep her at like 3-4 stars and gear her appropriately, you could argue she's an S. However, if you are deciding to use her in arena and you just rank her up all the way, she's going to be worse in clan battle. So it really depends. If you optimize her appropriately, you could argue S. If you optimize her for arena, she's going to be significantly worse in clan battle. So I think A is fair all the way around. Kind of an interesting one, but again, not going to be used until quite some time later this year. Next up, we have Kokkoro. Kokkoro is just a great support. She's just a fantastic support all the way around. Action speed, all attack. Great character to have. I would say at her base level, she is more of a B+, possibly A-, just because she's just kind of versatile. And what she does is just kind of straightforward, and it's always welcomed. I would probably say B+, in my opinion, at least with how things have been currently. Her unique equipment is out, and it definitely helps a little bit with her timings. It's not a must, in my opinion, but it's definitely a nice little boost. I think it probably warrants her at least an A- spot, though, with it. Very good support to have. After that, we have her summer version, and she's kind of in the same boat, in my opinion, in the sense that she's still going to be healing. She's going to be actually giving some defense shred. She's going to be buffing attack. Very good one to have. You could argue that she's also an A-, but for the sake of this, I think maybe a bit more of a B+. B+, A-, I think is fair. After that, we have Kuuka. Same argument as before. You don't really want to be using tanks ever or healers in clan battle, but when you do, she can be used in the sense that she has a taunt. Now, being able to taunt the boss's specific abilities is actually quite good, so she at least comes in somewhat handy, but for most of the time, you're not really going to want to be using a tank. But keep in mind, sometimes taunts are actually quite good. After that, we have Kurumi. Now, Kurumi is just kind of a defense unit. She's not really going to be one you want to use in clan battle. That's kind of just how the game goes. Not really much else to say there. Her unique equipment is out, and it makes her much more tanky, or it makes the party much more tanky, but it's again not really something you're going to be using in terms of clan battle, so usually one to avoid. Same thing kind of goes for her Christmas version. She's just kind of outclassed and really isn't used in clan battle. It's just kind of how it goes. After that, we have Kyoka though. Kyoka is currently our strongest mage, fantastic mage. When you just want pure damage, she's kind of like the mage to go for. Wouldn't quite say she's S tier, especially as this year continues, but very, very, very good mage to have. Yeah, nothing really else to say about her. Next we have Lima. Lima is an arena tank. You can't change my mind. You pretty much don't want to use her in clan battle. Like I said, you never want to use tanks, but if you are going to use a tank, you would pretty much want to run a different one. Her unique equipment is out, but it doesn't do anything in terms of clan battle. Next up is Mahiru. Now, Mahiru is sort of in the same boat as Kurumi, where she just doesn't really see play. She's just outshined and outclassed, just all the way. Her unique equipment is out, but again, it doesn't really do much to her kit, and she just doesn't really see play. It's just kind of like the harsh reality. After that, we have Maho. Maho, in my opinion, is definitely more of an arena healer. Some people swear by her in clan battle and PvE situations. I don't find them that handy. Her Union Burst TP gain is just incredibly small, and half the time I don't feel is worth it. Her heal is fine, but her blind doesn't do anything. Honestly, if you were to run someone like Maho where you just wanted the heal, you would just run Akari. That's kind of where I stand with her. In terms of clan battle, there's other characters that just do it better, in my opinion. So she's a C for me in clan battle. Next up we have Makoto. Same explanation as I gave for Summer Karyl, just for the physical teams. She's an absolute must-have all the way around. You could argue she's an S or an SS, and both are kind of acceptable. I would say S for the sake of this. However, with her unique equipment, yeah, let's just do it this way. I mean, you could argue she's SS over here as well, but the fact that she just gets so much more damage when you have to use her and you're using her anyway, that she's pretty much an SS. So these two could easily be up here, but that's fine for how it is now. Next, we have Matsuri. Matsuri is an arena character, and that kind of answers that question. Next, we have Mifuyu. Again, she has a great position for a physical character, but she's just outshined and outclassed by so many other physical characters. There are just so many better options, pretty much not one you're really going to want to use. She does have her unique equipment out, but it really doesn't do too much to help her, sadly. Next we have her summer version. Her summer version's a little bit better, but albeit not all that crazy, but something you could definitely use, sort of in the same boat as Akino. Realistically, like, you don't want to use her, but if you're forced to, it's okay. But most of the time you wouldn't. Moving on, we have Muimi. Muimi kind of saw some play for a little while, but honestly, she's kind of fallen off a little bit with the introduction of just so many more better physical characters right now. She's just, again, outshined and outclassed. So easy C from me. Alright, and next up we have Misaki. Misaki is just kind of one of the weaker mages, unfortunately. Her kit actually sounds kind of cool, but she's just kind of isn't really up to scruff with some of the other mages, so she's not one you really want to use all that much. After that we have her Halloween version. Honestly, she is more of just an arena character. Again, you don't really want to be using her in clan battle. If you're forced to, she's at least a mage, but for the most part, she's an arena character. After that, we have Misato. Now, Misato is actually not bad for a healer. She's definitely one of the better ones, in my opinion, as she provides some magic attack, albeit not that much. But if you are forced to use a healer, she's definitely a solid option. But again, you don't really want to use a healer, so she's not going to be ranked too highly. Just keep in mind her unique equipment, when it does come out, is going to make her much, much more viable when you do need to use a healer. So definitely one worth to have. After that, we have Misogi. Misogi is just kind of underwhelming. She's just another one of those characters who just doesn't perform quite as well as a lot of others and is just kind of outclassed. After that, we have Mitsuki. Mitsuki's kind of an interesting one. She is a good defense break, but you have to kind of line characters up correctly with her. If you use her incorrectly, then it's like not that good, but if you use her correctly, she's very strong. However, with the introduction of other physical defense break characters that actually deal pretty decent damage, she's fallen off a little bit, but she's still definitely one worth having and using. However, I do think she's going to be more of a B, maybe B plus right now. Her unique equipment is out, but realistically it's just a little bit of boosted damage and it doesn't really do a whole lot because she's not really known for damage, so same B in my opinion. After that, we have Miyako. Same boat. You don't want to use tanks, and honestly, if you are forced to use a tank, there are better options. After that, we have her Halloween version. While it's kind of a cool character in terms of clan battle, you really don't want to use her. She has some very, very situational stuff that she can do, but for the most part, it's too niche, and you're not really going to be using her all that much. After that, we have Monika. Monika typically is used to clear content quickly, but in terms of boss fights, she's very underwhelming. Honestly, if you're going to run someone who provides action speed, you want someone who can constantly provide action speed. Monika only provides it at the very start of the battle, and then she significantly drops off. So if you're going to run someone like Monika, you would want to run Kokkoro instead. So avoid using Monika, in my opinion. After her, we have Muimi. Now, Muimi is the first SS character, and I'm sure most of you are aware why I would rank her as that. She is bonkers level, broken. She does so much damage. She can face tank just like Kaori would. In a lot of situations, she's incredibly good, pairs very well with some of the other characters, just great all the way around. Very, very good. SS tier for sure, in my opinion. After that, we have Nanaka. Not bad, but nothing special. She's definitely one you could use. She's definitely more of a flex type character, albeit not that strong of a flex character, but she can be used. I would say maybe C plus B minus. I think B minus might actually be okay as well. Again, there's other better mages, but you can definitely use her. After that, we have Ninon. Ninon is an arena character. Avoid using her in clan battle, in my opinion. There's just too many better units. If you're forced to use her, fine, but realistically speaking, she's arena. She gains a little bit of damage, or a damage buff if she gets a kill, I believe, with her unique equipment, which does nothing for clan battle, so yeah, straight D in my opinion. Nozomi, again, you don't really want to use tanks. If you are forced to use a tank in clan battle, though, she's sort of an option because she provides an occasional taunt, which is always good. She provides some healing, and she also provides some physical attack buff. So she actually brings something to the party, albeit not that much. But realistically, if you aren't running June or Ruka, then Nozomi's fine, but realistically you want to use the other two. Her unique equipment is out. It would basically make her more tanky and does nothing for clan battle. After that we have Peck, exact same thing. You don't want to run a tank. At her base level, she is arguably one of the worst tanks in my opinion. She's just not very good, and she provides no support to the team whatsoever. She does have her unique equipment out, which makes her pretty much a wall, but in terms of clan battle, if you really need a tank that just won't die, she can definitely be used, but for the most part you kind of want to avoid using her. After that we have her summer version. Her summer version in my eyes is definitely more of an arena character, but she kind of can be used in clan battle, but I highly wouldn't recommend it. Her damage just isn't really up to scruff when compared to the vast majority of others, but if you're really struggling, she's fine. After that we have Ray. Ray is sort of in the same boat as Eriko in my opinion. At her base level, she's very underwhelming. Her damage just isn't really all that good. Easy C. However, with her unique equipment, it definitely buffs her damage significantly, albeit not crazy, but it also gives her some pretty good defense shred as well. So if you're looking for a defense character who can also defense break and provide some decent damage, Ray with her unique equipment is a very good character to have. After that, we have her New Year version. Now, her New Year version's kind of interesting because she provides a tiny bit of physical defense shred. She can taunt, which is always useful, and on top of that, she can actually negate magic effects. Now, this is super specific, but it's actually very powerful in the sense that she can taunt something that would essentially maybe hit one of your strong attackers and also negate the effect. So for instance, if there's a boss that does like a front range kind of charm, she can completely negate the charm. If something's targeting a specific character, she can taunt and sometimes completely negate the effect. So very strong in my opinion, but she's not one that you use all the time, but when you do use her, it's actually very, very handy. I think that warrants her a little bit higher over some of the other tanks, in my opinion, just because of that. Still not quite on the same level as June and Ruka, but definitely a very nice one to have. After that, we have Rin. Rin is just a magic defense kind of support character. Not really something you would want to use. You can, if you're ever forced to use a healer, she's an option, but realistically speaking, not all that special. With her unique equipment though, which is out, she'll provide some pretty hefty physical attack and physical crit buff. So if you are forced to use a healer and on a physical team or something, she can keep them alive. It makes her a little bit more valuable, but albeit still not going to be that high. Reno is basically a arena character. You don't want to be using her in clan battle. Her damage just isn't that good. That's just kind of the nature of the game. Her unique equipment is out, but realistically it doesn't really help her that much. If you're forced to run an archer, she can be used, but realistically she's arena. That's kind of enough said. Alright, now we have Ruka. Ruka, who I've mentioned previously before, solid tank. Her and June are kind of your clan battle tanks that you're going to want to run. She has a taunt, she has a physical defense shred. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Great tank to have all the way around. If you are forced to use a tank, it's June and Ruka. That's pretty much what it comes down to. After that, we have Saren. Saren is just a TP battery. She is fantastic. She sees play across the board in terms of clan battle. There are a few teams that utilize her really well, and anytime you have a TP battery, they're always going to be a good character. And honestly, Saren is an easy A for me. Her unique equipment is out, but it really doesn't do much for her. It just kind of increases her damage a little bit based on her health. Just A across the board. After that, we have Shinobu. Shinobu is another one of those characters that some people swear by. I think she's okay. I personally wouldn't rank her too high. I think she's more of a C plus B minus because she does see play, and she's good when she sees play, or when she sees play doing those things, but outside of that, not that great. So, B- in my opinion. She does have her unique equipment out, but honestly, it doesn't do too much, in my opinion. Some people swear by it, but I think she's just kind of a low B across the board. After that, we have Halloween Shinobu, arena character. Honestly, you don't really want to be using her outside of arena. Some PvE situations, but in terms of clan battle, like, if you're forced to, sure, but she's just, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, just because of her kid. After that, we have Hiyori. Now, Hiyori is arguably the better archer in terms of clan battle. She's kind of a little bit of a snowball, meaning she starts off a little weak, but then she just starts to climb, and she's a very, very good character all the way around to have. She's going to become even better, like significantly better with her unique equipment, so definitely one to keep an eye on. Fantastic unit to have in clan battle. Very, very good archer to have. Easy A. After that, we have Shizuru. Shizuru, I'm going to say, is the same explanation for all the other tanks. Typically don't want to run one, but when you do, she's fine to use. She's usually paired up with like mage teams because she provides that actual extra bit of like physical defense across the board. Because of that, I would rank her a little bit higher. I wouldn't quite say B tier, maybe B minus now that I say that. B minus, C plus, just because of pairing her with mages is usually quite good if you're forced to use a tank. Outside of that, she's just a physical defense tank kind of thing. Her unique equipment is out, but honestly, it doesn't really do anything for her. After that, we have her Valentine version. Now, this is a little bit different because her Valentine version is basically an incredibly good physical support. Yeah, there's nothing else really to say about that. She is an absolutely fantastic support for physical teams. She's so stinking strong that she is easily an S, in my opinion. In terms of clan battle, oh yeah, oh, so good. After that, we have Suzume. Yeah, kind of lackluster. I know some people have tried to use her, but honestly, she's not really one I would put anything into. She's just kind of lackluster. Her summer version, some people say she's more arena, some people say she's fantastic in PvE and clan. I'm not completely sold on it. She can definitely be used, but in my opinion, she's just she's very niche. So I don't think she's personally that high. So I think C is fair for her. After that, we have Suzuna. Suzuna is a very, very good archer. She's not quite on the same level as Arisa and Shuri is right now, in my opinion. She was definitely stronger earlier throughout last year, but she's fallen off the wayside a little bit. Still a solid flex attacker to have if you have her. A good archer, but honestly, I think she's just kind of outclassed by the other two. After that, we have Tamaki. Tamaki, in terms of clan battle, actually isn't too bad, although I still consider her a little bit more of a mage sniper for arena. The fact that she can just TP steal is always valuable in certain situations. In my opinion, she's probably just a solid B. Good one to have. Her damage isn't anything crazy. You would mostly use her for her TP steal, but her damage isn't bad by any means. She does have her unique equipment out, but just like Arisa, it's definitely more arena oriented, but there is a flat damage increase. I wouldn't quite say it pushes her into an A tier, but definitely a B plus. After that, we have her summer version though, which is basically a more clan battle oriented version in my opinion. She still TP steals, but she does significantly more damage. Honestly, I think that warrants her an easy A. Even if you're not using her for her TP steal, her damage is quite good, and you could honestly just use her for her damage. After that, we have Tomo. Tomo is honestly a very, very solid physical attacker in my opinion. She's kind of one of those characters where she doesn't need a lot of assistance to do well. You can kind of just throw her in and she'll just kind of do her own thing. She provides her own attack, her own action speed buff. Very, very solid unit. She is honestly an easy A. After that, we have Tsumigi. Tsumigi is an arena character. avoid using her in clan battle, in my opinion. There might be incredibly niche situations where you would use her, but for 98% of the time, she's arena, so don't even bother. Hiyori at her base level is sort of in the same boat as kind of Misaki and whatnot. She's just kind of outclassed and doesn't really bring much to the table. She does have her unique equipment out though, which makes her a little bit more viable, but honestly I tend to think of her as more of an arena character. Not bad if you really need to and you do have her with her unique equipment, but honestly I wouldn't worry too much about using her. Next up we have Yui, same boat as all the other healers. If you need to use a healer, she's fine, but for most of the time you pretty much wouldn't want to use her. Probably low C, maybe D. Honestly, if you're forced to use a healer, I think Misato's just a better version of Yui. That's just me. Her unique equipment is out, but it doesn't really do much for her. After that though, we have her New Year version, which I'm sure most of you are aware is basically referred to as the PvE cheat code. If your team is absolutely getting wrecked, chances are new Yui will come in and just save everybody, but she's kind of in the same boat as the rest of the healers. You don't really want to use healers in clan battle. Kind of on par with Misato. She provides a slightly better magic attack buff though, and way more survivability through her kit, but yeah, if you're forced to use her, she's good, but realistically you don't want to use her. Akari is just... I don't even know where to begin with Akari. She is honestly one of the best units in the game. She's so versatile. She's so good at what she does. She's got great defense. Her damage is kind of low, really, but she does everything else. She TP boosts, she heals, she negates magic. She's absolutely fantastic. Absolute easy A across the board for me. Her unique equipment is out, which basically makes her heal bonkers level. Don't know if it quite warrants an S tier in terms of clan battle, but definitely just makes her heal even better. Great unit across the board. Fantastic. Alright, and then final character we have is Yuki. Now, Yuki is typically more of an arena character in my opinion. She's technically a TP boost, but she really doesn't see any play in clan battle. Honestly, if you're going to use a TP boost character, there are better ones and more specific ones. She doesn't really see play, so there isn't really much else to say about her. Definitely more of an arena character. And that's going to cover it. That is going to be all of the current characters released in the game, ranked in terms of their clan battle performance. As you can see here on the left, this is kind of all of them at the base level. Right here on the right, this is what we got out of all of the characters that currently have unique equipment. As you can see, some characters really don't shine unless they have their unique equipment, so that is something to consider if you are trying to strengthen your clan battle roster. If you are sleeping on Eriko, you might want to invest in her just because of how dominant she is when she has her unique equipment. Whereas other characters, like for instance maybe someone like Arisa or Kokkoro, it only increases them a little bit. So there you go, there's a direct comparison. We're going to cut it here because that was already a very long video. I know there's a lot of characters to cover. Thankfully, going forward, I will be reverting back to this when more unique equipment is released. We'll be comparing it and we'll be updating this along the way. So thankfully, those videos won't be nearly as long because we'll only be comparing the unique equipment. But for the sake of this video, there we go. It's out there. If you're interested in this in terms of arena, keep an eye out for the next video. I'll hopefully have that not too long after this one's been released. Yeah, but there you go. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you think I slept on, or maybe I gave someone too much credit and gave another character too little credit, be sure to put it in the comment, and you know, maybe we'll update it in a later video. But as for now, there you go, there you have it. Keep an eye out for the arena one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.